Well, the kid on the mound, he's a big kid. I mean, look at his legs. Holy cow. It's like stilts. Or is that just Randy Johnson? Lefty and everything.
Are you guys going to the game tonight?
We talked about it. I don't know. Elijah hasn't been the most. He's been a little difficult lately. Okay. So I don't know. We'll see. I might see if he can, like, I'll give him some money and send him with somebody else. I don't know. Because I'm sure if I do go, he'll take off and then I'll be sitting there by myself. So.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, I might take a page from what you were saying. Although it's the Justin Morneau thing, so maybe it might not be so easy, but...
Well, that's, and Bruce does that. Like, he does that all the time, everywhere we go. He gets wandering, sits wherever he wants, and then invariably, it's mortifying to me when, of course, somebody comes and we're sitting in their seat and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know,
he
that's...
wants to do that, and Bruce doesn't care. Right? He just doesn't care. So you're right, it's going to be busy, like, I feel it's going to be.
Yeah, they're giving out the bobbleheads, and it's Justin Morneau, like, Hall of Fame night or whatever.
Good.
Nice.
And a kick. Good job. Yeah, so I ended up spending
Come on, I'll move about 2 feet.
Good.
It's surprising how fast he is.
Yeah. Okay. Bruce brought his jersey of Vlad Sr. to wear tonight.
Yeah, I saw that on the thing. He mentioned something about that. On stuff like that, you don't really think about, and
Yeah. Be grateful. Look up.
So yeah, I'm like, if I ask you to, like, do some of this stuff, it's like, I'm not trying to make you a slave. I mean, I'm trying to do,
Help out a little bit.
trying to make.
Ollie. There you go, kid. Come on.
I'm trying to give you all the opportunities that you want, like I'm trying to make it all happen for you. If you want to do this or that or whatever, let's do it,
Just contribute a little bit.
I think my oldest, he's pretty good about knowing, how much extra time and, money, and usually says thanks for, stuff that you wouldn't even really expect him to say thanks for, but...
A little more
yeah, he realizes it's like, well, it's not, you know,
This isn't something that everyone can do.
yeah, so.
Yeah, I think my kid doesn't have any clue. Matthew? Alright, let's go, boys! Alright, let's go, boys!
And my other tripod, I have a different tripod, but part of it's kind of broke.
Oh.
And so I've got this one. I think my mom found it at a garage sale for like $5. And so I'm like, well, I'll give that one a try, but
Not your favorite so
it
far?
doesn't move very good, and
yeah, right.
like to tighten it up is this here to tighten, and it's hard to get it. I don't know.
How you want it?
Yeah. I think my other one I could set the elevation and lock it, and then I could still like have it free to swivel back and forth. Where this one,
oh,
yeah, this one I have to loosen this,
try.
do the elevation and the swivel out.
And then lock it.
Where the other one I don't have to worry about the elevation, it just stays on the same plane. So I don't know.
That's really nice in your toy though. Love it. Ooh. Try it, fellas. You know, I have my big fancy camera too that can zoom in, you know, take hundreds of shots in, you know, a few seconds it seems. But I brought it last week and I'm just like, I don't want to watch. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Very nice to have.
I like recording the games. I find myself when I record the games, it's like I'm always wishing that I could be like taking like the action shots, you know, like catching the cool sliding pictures or whatever, and
You can swap.
yeah.
Oh, I forgot my name. Hey, good job. Nice job. But that's we all go through that, I feel.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Well,
you know it.
She's kind of the, like, not a hoarder, but she, you know, she's the one that likes to like have way more stuff than she needs, and doesn't really.
Nice hit.
It's like not really
Woo!
not really that possible to like really get very organized or whatever, because you get so much stuff. At some point you can't.
It's hard.
You know, it's like, how many of the same thing do you need, you know? And but so actually, like well, me and the boys, we wouldn't even like go and look in the kitchen cabinets or the freezer or the refrigerator. Like we wouldn't even really wanna, because it was like could never find anything, or you had to like unload half of the stuff to just find stuff, you know. And so recently it's been like so nice, like, oh, it's like everything's right where you know it's where it's at. If it's not there, that means we don't have it, you know.
Is she seeing anyone for any?
No, just not that I know of.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I want to say that probably, because it was like all of a sudden out of the blue. And
yeah. Get there! Oh. All right, good try. Go blue.
yeah, it's so weird. The Twins, like they were so awesome, you know, the last couple of years, and then
Did they even start out strong in the season or not? Right?
I think they got off right off the bat, like kind of off to a crappy start. But yeah, I'm honestly don't really even have a clue. Really,
Yeah. We don't watch them.
they kind of got off to that crappy start, and I just
It's only
yeah.
the Padres or anybody.
I think it's just the one. I think. Yeah, it was funny. I had another hockey parent call and say, you know, is Elijah available for a hockey tournament this coming weekend, you know? And I'm like, no, we have a baseball tournament in Minneapolis, you know? And it's like, baseball? You guys are still playing baseball?
Yeah. Yeah, we could.
Like,
for a
yeah.
while if we wanted to. Got it, kid. Yeah, boys. Hit. You know, you want to keep rolling.
That works. That kid is just huge. He's got to be like 6'2" or something like that. I mean, from here, he just looks like he's... Maybe that umpire's just short.
Yeah, maybe. Josh wants to try to stirrup pants.
Oh, yeah.
Good job, Cal. Got him in, let's go!
seems like he's got a tight strike zone, kind of. All those would have been strikes last week.
Yeah, you gotta adapt, right?
I mean, that guy last week on Sunday, he was like, if it's anywhere close, he better be swinging or I'm calling it a strike, you know?
Yeah, you gotta be able to adapt. Who's in charge? Did your kid cut his hair?
Nope. He's gonna get it cut pretty soon, though. Especially after, like, what I was just telling you earlier. It's like you're making it really easy for me to decide if I want you to keep the longer hair or not.
Drop the hair.
Although, my oldest son, his girlfriend has a daughter, or his girlfriend has a sister that's, I think, a year older than Elijah, but she knows a lot of the girls Elijah's age.
Sure.
And so last night, my son's girlfriend was like, all the 7th grade girls are just crazy about Elijah.
They love his hair.
And that's what I was saying. I told on the way down. All I have to say is I'm glad I have boys and not girls. You know?
We've got a junior and she's stunning.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do. I would be a nervous wreck.
Good thing she's kind of an asshole.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's
like,
very cold. Like she doesn't put the vibe out there. Like come and talk to me. It's kind of like stay the fuck away from me.
yeah.
Which is in our favor, I feel.
Yeah, it makes it so it's not so easy for all the.
Right.
Yeah.
Matthew. Way to go. Ben's dad down there?
Yep. And Grandpa.
Nice job.
I think Central and Red River, St. Mary's,
Okay.
Bismarck,
Devil's
St.
Lake
Mary's,
and Jamestown, are they in with you guys?
Devil's Lake, Jamestown, Valley City,
Dickinson?
Dickinson, Williston. I don't know if Williston, I guess, but I would imagine.
Yeah. Nice job. There you go.
And I think Wahpeton. And I almost want to say Hillsboro, but
Really?
maybe I'm just thinking Wahpeton. But
Nice job. Nice job. Good job. We played hard South last night. Thank God.
yeah, South. It was a pretty ugly game when we played them.
Who's your quarterback this year?
Danny Boutain. He was the starting quarterback last year. He's a pretty good basketball player. He's like a pretty smart,
Yeah.
kind of a player. But he's got good physical ability and stuff too. I think he's one of those athletes that he is as good as he is because of his smarts, not so much because of his athletic ability. You know, probably plays better than a lot of other kids that have more talent,
Sure.
but he's just smarter,
Yeah. Nice. Woo!
Oh man,
Way to go!
they are having a tough time in the field. Holy cow.
To our advantage. Go, boys!
Just a big mental block right there. Oh, I used to hate that. It's like flub one up at shortstop, and then it's like starts getting in your head. And
Ah! What the? Come on! Try, Ollie.
yeah, we have a pretty big senior class this year too. So That makes a big difference, I think.
I don't think we play you guys this year, do we?
I think we play Cheyenne, but I don't know if we play West Fargo. Is Gibson still coaching there?
With his tattered t-shirts and normal shorts. It's quite a sight.
You know, my senior year of football was well, when I started there, it was Coach like Mr. Monty, his name was, and I think his kid went to NDSU, but I think he was pretty big West Fargo football coach for a while.
Okay.
But the first years I was there, he just wasn't, I don't know, just wasn't that good of a coach anymore, you know. And so they hired another guy. I think he was like a math teacher, and he coached, I think, my last 2 years of football. So yeah, Monty was my first year, sophomore year, and then this other coach was my junior and senior year. And I think we won one game, and I don't think we won any games the year that Monty coached. Well, then the following year, who are the good athletes that should be probably playing? I'm going to go out and I'm going to get them to play.
Recruiting them, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you had this culture, and then he didn't really have to do that anymore. Then the kids came through the system like wanting to play for Gibson, you know, like.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I have to tell you, we didn't go to any games last year for obvious reasons, but the year before we had gone to quite a few. And this year, that's all right. Good job. This year, the one home game that I've had a chance to make it to, it's like there's hardly anybody on the sidelines. It was the Cheyenne game, and of course you got like 190 kids lined up in white.
Yeah.
Ominous, and then you've got our 10 guys, other than the players, that are standing on the sidelines like, what's going on? Did we have more kids than this? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. Well, did you say you were from Carpio?
I'm from Carpio originally. Yeah,
so, do you know Pancrats?
Oh yeah, Chad. Ross. Yeah, Chad.
Yeah, Ross.
So Chad was my age. I graduated. We were the same class, and then he moved into Minot and went to graduate from Minot Ryan. But Ross was younger than me. He was my sister's age.
Okay, because Ross is who I know really good, because his son, Elijah, and him played on baseball team last year. He's a year older than Elijah.
Oh, okay.
But Elijah played up a year last year.
So he's in West Fargo or Fargo area?
He's Davies. Lives over by Davies.
Okay.
And his son's a really good athlete.
Cool.
Really good baseball player.
Nice.
Gus. He's a hockey player too. He's a pretty good hockey player. Elijah and him, last year they played on the same team, hockey.
Nice.
But Gus will be a bantam this year, so.
That's his name, Gus?
Gus, yep.
That's good. What does Ross do? Something computerish or?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
I
both highly intelligent.
I think it's financial something. Yeah.
Yeah, they were smarty parties.
I think he's
off the chart.
I think he's got a pretty good career. Super nice. I love Ross. He's awesome. It's like, I can't believe how tall that guy
Yeah,
is.
they were. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, big. Their mom and dad were both very tall.
Yeah, and his wife, she's really nice.
Good.
Gus, good kid.
Do they have older kids too, or do they have
Um,
younger, or just him?
they have a daughter, and I can't remember. I think the daughter is like a year or two younger than Gus.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't.
But yeah, on the way home last week, I was like, did she say Carpio? I'm like, I didn't register with me when you said it, but I'm like, oh, I bet you she knows Ross. I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to totally ask her if she knows Pancras.
Been 30-some years since I saw his face, but small town, you knew absolutely everybody and parents.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the kind of town I grew up in too. Yeah. But yeah, what triggered me to think that is we were talking about how you look over at the other sidelines, and we would be having at Tioga, we'd be having a home football game, and we'd have, our guys on the sideline, and you'd look like we'd play like Kenmare or Watford City, and I don't know if they brought like 3 buses or what, but you'd look over at their sideline and it would be like just uniforms from like one 30-yard line all the way to the other 30-yard line. Like, like we don't even have that many kids in our high school, I don't think, we did. I mean, they probably brought every 7th and 8th and 9th grade. They did. And that was part of what made them so good is like the culture, the kids they brought them with.
Yeah, small town, what else is there to do? Play sports probably more than likely,
Yeah, and like for me, like there was a few of us that, from junior high, we'd travel with the junior varsity or the varsity, and we'd play those games and stuff. But I think like Watford City and like Kenmare and stuff, they would bring everyone in the football program, like bring them, put a uniform on them, set them up on the sidelines.
Right.
If it's a blowout, they're going to get in and get some experience.
Right.
But it was, I could tell you, we already felt half defeated by the time the game started, because it was like they have all these kids, like they can just bring them in waves. Where, like nowadays it's even becoming where a kid plays just defense or just offense. Well, it was like, if you were a certain player, you were playing everything. Like.
Yeah, right. And I had kind of forgotten that too, actually. Just not watching high school football for so many years. We'd go to every Bison game, right? And watch the Bison play. We'd travel and watch them. We'd go to Frisco and watch them. And then my cousin from Lineout was in the state championship. They came to town and played the West Fargo Packers at the Dome. And so we went to watch them. And I sat there, I'm like,
Is safety.
Sure.
Because he's got a really long stride, but they try to get him playing corner, and it takes him a little while to get up to speed. And like, sometimes those receivers, those guys they're quick twitch, like they're they're taking off, and where I think, and he's more cerebral, so I think he would just be better at safety. But
is your coach good?
it's hard to say, because I think he's benefiting from the class change and a really good senior class, a strong senior class with lots of experience. So I mean, really, next year would be like
All right.
you'd be able to have a good gauge of his coaching ability.
Sure.
Although it does seem like he's doing a good job of kind of getting like a culture and
Sure.
you know getting the kids. Like he recruited my son to come out.
Yeah.
My son like wasn't,
Right. You said he wasn't going to do it. Wasn't interested,
and yeah, he talked him into it. And so, which is you know like I'm super grateful to him for doing it because I know that Isaiah has enjoyed like hanging with his buddies and you know the
camaraderie.
yeah all the stuff that comes with it. You know, you get to know your buddies and
Yeah. Right. Kids normally you wouldn't hang out with.
yeah. But yeah, I would say next year would be probably a good gauge.
Is Isaiah a senior this year?
Yep. I mean, just looking at like the plays and stuff, like I think they have a pretty good like offense, pretty good. Sometimes you know I can watch a coach like the plays like you know they have the team run and it's like this coach has no creativity, like no. To me, high school football, like everything should be like keeping the defense off balance, like a lot of misdirection and stuff like that because you know it's like have the defense just like not sure like what the heck you're gonna do, you know.
Always be ready.
Does that guy have the ball or does that guy have the ball or who has the ball actually, you know?
Here we go, Blue.
It's yeah, in football it just seems like if you don't have some sort of misdirection, you're missing the boat, you know. You're like I mean, like sometimes I'll sit and watch like the Bison and stuff and I'll be like watching one guy and I'm like, "Oh, he doesn't even have the ball. Like this other guy has the ball. What the heck?"
Right. Like an optical illusion.
Yeah. Who has the ball, the running back or the quarterback? I don't know really. So I can just imagine, you know, your defense, you're trying to look through other players and trying to figure out for sure who has the ball. And
Playing obviously, but I don't know how they're playing. Yeah, we even do it. There's so much going on. Yeah. Josh has played, you know, since they could. And he's usually the quarterback and wide receiver and tight end, of course, throughout the years. Last year they sent him to flag since they didn't have anything else going on due to the pandemic, so they let him have a little flag football league. Bruce ended up coaching because no one ever showed up. Or, you know, the dads are busy and Bruce was always there, so I'm like, just do it. And so they devised some pretty fun little, you know, plays. And Josh can obviously toss it, and so we had a couple kids who could just catch it. And other kids who could throw it and get it down the field to Josh, who can catch anything. Ooh, nice hit! Nice catch. Try. So they had a lot of success and a lot of fun, and so football season this year, Josh was really discouraged because they only had, you know, one passing play.
yeah.
After, you know,
Yeah.
the first game, and then
Being able to throw it around a little
one
bit.
more, and Josh was just bored to death. And so now they've got a few, right? There's more and more coming, and Josh came home one day and he goes, we should do this play, Dad, that, you know, whatever it is, you fake it, and then, you know, it was some trickery.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I said, well, tell your coach. He said, you know, don't be a douche about it, but just kind of mention it to your coach. He goes, I did. I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It's more fun just to turn around and hand it to somebody.
Yeah, no,
But
it's
you got to do that too, but mix it up a little bit. Bunch of it. And had to get used to the fact very quickly in our relationship that once we went somewhere, he would be rolling, right? Like he was going to be rolling side, and I'm fine with that. I don't care. Like I do the same thing. I'm very social. I like to talk to people, and he did too. So I'm sitting at the table, I typically know whoever we're with, and pointed, and I'm like, there's Bruce standing at a table, talking.
Yeah.
Whatever. And he goes, I'll buy you around if you can get up and talk away from our table. And I'm like, yeah, fine, you can do that. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take you around. And then I was kind of laughing, and then I was kind of pissed. I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, he's a really nice guy. Don't be such a douchebag.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll take you around.
He was probably like, he's out nicing me. No, I'm pretty reserved, and
Yeah.
it takes me a while to warm up to people, but like both of you guys,
Oh yeah.
I feel like like Elijah's played many seasons with you guys. Like I already know you guys so good.
Yeah.
It's like I think I've probably talked to both you guys more than I've talked to half the parents on every other team Elijah's ever been on.
That's funny.
No, it's I don't know. Sometimes I think other parents like look at me and think that I'm too fanatical about, I'm too into sports and whatever, and it's like, I don't know. Yeah.
We're freaks when it comes to competing.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I've always heard like people say like, oh, you live
Through your kids.
your sports through your kids or whatever, and I mean, in a way, for me, like growing up at Tioga, like I grew up like I was gonna be varsity, I was gonna be a Tioga Pirate and this and that. And, well, then the oil field started kind of drying up back then, and my dad, he had to come to Fargo for his job, and so went from Tioga to West Fargo, and me being pretty kind of like almost like a phobia of like socializing with new people, like it would take me a long time to kind of warm up to people, and I was totally in my comfort zone in Tioga,
Of course, yeah.
and I was already deeply involved in every sport there as an 8th and a 9th grader, and then all of a sudden you come to West Fargo and nobody knows who you are, and like we moved to West Fargo and I never played Legion baseball ever again because we came to West Fargo halfway through the summer, and I finished up my Legion stuff. I kind of stayed with friends until baseball season was over.
Sure.
And then I came to Fargo, and but there was still baseball and stuff going on in Fargo, deeper into the season than what we did at Tioga, but I didn't know where to go, and I wasn't the type of person to like go and try to find out who to talk to, and I was like petrified to go talk to anybody, and
that's devastating to move at that age. I remember my best friend moved away from me when we were sophomores. And it was just like, oh my god, I thought the world had ended.
I mean, ultimately looking back, I just wish, I wish I would have just I think the bad part is my parents gave me hope that I could possibly go back to Tioga and live with my aunt that's lived there, and that I could finish school there and graduate there and play sports there and stuff, and where really they should have totally cut the cord, like either like crap or get off the pot, like let me go there or not, like cut the cord. So the whole time I was always kind of like thinking like, I just want to go back to Tioga.
Well, of course it's in your brain, yeah.
So really then I kind of just rebelled against, I would go and it's like, I actually didn't go out for the team, but an assistant coach found out that I was interested. Well, actually, I think my gym teacher, like, told him, like, this kid's, like, better than some of the kids you have on the basketball team. Like
Look into this.
he's like, killing them in gym class,
Right. Yeah.
And like I could get up. I couldn't dunk a basketball, but I could in gym class I could dunk a volleyball and stuff,
Sure.
And so all of a sudden one day this I didn't even know he was a coach, but I knew he was a teacher. He came up and he's like, "You like playing basketball, and well, then he talked me into trying out for the basketball team. I was so antisocial. I was petrified. I didn't know anybody, and so I came to the practices. A lot of these kids have already been in the program, so they already knew the plays and like the system and like I didn't know any of that stuff, like.
Right.
But it was such a good system, and everything. But I didn't. So I stuck it out. My senior year came. That was the year they won the state championship.
Nice.
Well, it got to the point where the semester was over around Christmas time, and still wishing that I could have played back in Tioga.
Sure.
Well, my grades, I didn't keep my grades up. My grades were bad, so I wasn't able to stay on the team, then. So I'm sitting back home watching the team win the state championship. Team that I spent,
Right.
2.5 years practicing, sweating, in the gym every day, and all of a sudden I'm sitting at home watching them all win the championship.
What year was that? When you graduated?
91.
Yeah!
Holy crap.
Way to go, Brandon!
Wow.
Woo! Nice work!
Oh, darn.
Son of a- Good hit! Good hit! Nice throw.
Man, that was a blast.
Had a kid. What year did you graduate?
91.
Oh yeah, we're the same age then. I graduated in 91.
So yeah, that would have been the older Torgrimson's Ryan. It was his senior year. He was in my same class.
Go Josh! Join the party.
But it was unreal coming from a small town where the coaching really wasn't that great to seeing somebody like Torgy coach, and one of the first practices, somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, here you go. This is yours," and he hands me a 2x4 that has carpet wrapped around it. I was like, it was hey, you're a lucky guy, you get one of these, and I was like, oh, okay, what
is that? What are you doing? Yeah,
what is this, And then, well, I don't know if you know, they call these crushers, or they, where you. I've heard so many different names called to these, but you start at the baseline, you go to the free throw line, back and then half court line, back, other free throw line, back, and then the end line and back. Well, it's I always call them crushers or whatever. Well, we're having this practice, and then all of a sudden it's carpets, and I was like, okay, carpet, that must be something to do with this.
Whatever I'm holding,
The 2x4 with the carpet wrapped around it, All of a sudden, I see the kids, put them on the floor and start pushing them on the floor, doing crushers. So basically, your lungs are totally restricted, and you're doing this cardio.
Whoa!
Once you get used to doing those carpets with your lungs totally like
Compressed,
restricted,
yeah.
and you can like do cardio like that. Plus, like when we practiced, we pressed all the time, you know, and at practice it was just constantly like pressing and like running and gunning, and if you're tired, come out, somebody else will come in. Like it was like interchangeable parts. Wow, that it was so amazing.
You were in shape.
We would be maybe like
Get there.
pretty even with the team, but by halftime, like we were deep, plus we were in such good shape.
Yep.
By halftime, you could just see like we were still had spring in our step. The other guys were starting to lose their spring, and their cardio wasn't there like we had, and
that conditioning is
and, you know, and Torgy was good about saying like when you start feeling gassed, like I want you coming out of the game, we're gonna get somebody fresh in there, get over to the bench, get your air back, and then boom, we'll get you right back out there, you know. And
yeah, that's great. So did he just retire? Did he coach for a long time?
He coached. I think he coached 5 or 6 years after, because Randy, his youngest, was like 3 or 4 years younger, and so I think he coached until Randy was done, and then I think he might have retired or whatever. Or I think he actually went to Dilworth and coached, or some smaller school for a while, but.
My two older kids both had him as a teacher, and they said he was the nicest human being.
I was kind of surprised. I can't think of his name now, but he's big in running too. Like you see him running around West Fargo all the time.
Well, I can't even tell you who our mayor is right now.
Yeah.
That's how civic-minded I am.
Yeah.
I know a Fargo's mayor. I don't know West Fargo's mayor.
Well, I think before both boys got into sports, like when my first son was into sports, I think I probably was a little more up on stuff, but yeah, all of a sudden you have 2 kids in sports, and you're like, it's like my head was spinning. Like you could ask me any kind of like government question or something, I wouldn't have a clue.
Kids are still on our street. He is not. He left, and I think they were separated. So that's about all I know. So when we found out he had just moved on our street, we're like, maybe we'll actually get the frickin' streets plowed in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
Not the 2 Bruces on the street, but no, that didn't happen. Bruce follows the city every single time it storms. They've got to be sick of getting calls from this guy. Bruce got the 10-330 Edgewater. I was wondering when we're gonna street plow. It's not a true street, so it doesn't need to be plowed for any reason, right?
Yeah.
For people to get anywhere, it's just
Josh, he's pitching a gem. Yeah. Smoke dump. I played with Mike Barroncott, who was the youngest brother of some of the brothers I think that played with Bruce.
Okay.
And so we heard in every practice, it was like, Torgy was always like, you know, Barroncott this and Barroncott would do that, and like, you know, he was always using these names of the guys that had success, you know, in earlier years or whatever.
Throw! Good try.
I'm sure Bruce was probably in some of that too, but yeah, then, you know, Barroncott, like you know, their youngest brother was playing with us, and there was 2 other Barroncotts. Well, so that name just always stuck out.
Oh, of course, yeah. We had one graduate last year. He was a pretty good basketball player on that state championship team last year. There's a Barroncott on that team.
Really?
So one of their kids.
Yeah. I see those Barroncott guys, and I see them every once in a while around, you know, some of the basketball players that I think were probably more, they were like the guys that were seniors when I was like probably a sophomore or whatever. See some of those guys around town here and there, you know, and
Sure.
I know they probably wouldn't recognize me anymore or whatever, but
Oh, Josh!
there's a couple of those guys that would be kind of interesting to see them again.
Sit down and yeah.
It's like I never really developed very many.
Atta kid! Woo! Way to go, boys!
Yeah, that was sweet.
Nice job!
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Nice snag.
Woo!
Dang, nice play. That was a damn good play. What is the score anyways?
Top of the 7th. We are up 3-1, so we just gotta.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't remember them scoring another one, but I know we got a few.
I was thinking it was 2-1. Let's get a couple more here.
And what inning is it?
The top of the 7th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, another thing that helped was, well, we had church that we went to. When I was a senior, there was a kid that went to our church. Kyle McKinnon was his name, but he was, I was a senior and he was a sophomore, and he was like, made the varsity. And he was always like trying to get me to play basketball in the summer, and he was like 6'3", so you know he had height advantage on me, but he was probably a little a little more clumsy because he was younger and taller like that, but it was good for me to go against him being a taller guy.
Yeah.
And he was a little more of a post player type kid.
Yeah.
And I was more of like a two guard, like slasher and stuff. So it was good for us to go against each other because, you know, we kind of, I learned how to be a post player better and how to guard a post player, and he learned how to guard a guy that can drive by you really easy, you know, and
move around better.
Yeah, somebody that can really jump, you got to make sure that you box them out real good. And so yeah, that was a good help too. And his dad was the pastor of our church actually, and he was really big into basketball. I think he might have had something to do with that assistant coach asking me to come out for the team because
that makes sense, yeah.
Because we had like a little church league basketball thing, and I think I didn't, like my sophomore year, I had no idea like who the basketball players were really or whatever, and so gym class beginning of the year, you know, it was football season, like I had no idea, and we're playing pickup basketball and stuff like before school. You get there and you play pickup basketball, and gym class and all that. Well, then all of a sudden basketball season came, and I was like, oh, these guys are some of the guys that were in my gym class. I'm like, gave me confidence because I was like, I know I'm, as good or better than this guy or that guy, like a few of them. And
ooh, get it there. Nice, nice. Good job. Good job, fellas. Nice throw. I'll make the highlight reel.
Yeah.
Here we go, boys. 2 more, let's go.
But yeah, that's where they when they say live sports through your kids or whatever, I always at least try to tell my boys, like, how it's over so fast, and like enjoy every little bit of it you can,
Good try. Good job.
It's like for the last 30 years, it's like every so often you just wish that you could kind of have some of that back and like have a redo on some of it,
Right, yeah, right.
It's like, could I go back to sophomore year and just like go all in on like, this is my new home?
Yep, I'm gonna embrace
like
it,
what would it have been like,
For
and
sure, yeah. It's so hard though, when you're at that age, you're emotionally,
Yeah.
hormones are rolling. Like you said, you tore away from a fabulous environment that you thought you were gonna be in for a few more years. It's tough.
What was really crazy is my best friend 2 years earlier, my best friend moved to West Fargo. So it was like, I think it was like eighth grade year. He had 8th grade year in West Fargo.
Okay.
And then they moved back to Tioga. So then we were, best friends for freshman year. And then the following year is when I moved to West Fargo. But it was kind of cool because some of the kids already knew him.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And so it was a little bit of a way for me to, to say like, oh, like I grew up with such and such. You know him because he went to school here last year or whatever, or 2 years ago.
Here we go, boys. Let's turn 2 here. End it. Go. go. Battle.
Yeah, that kid looks like he's like twice as tall as Elijah.
What?
Go to one! When in doubt, go to one!
Here we go, boys. 3-2, let's go. Here we go, Josh. Let's go, Blue. Go, boys. Finish. Go, Josh. Good job. Here we go. One more. Let's go, boys. Let's be smart.
Walk him! Walk him!
Yeah. Make a force at every base.
I'd like to strike them out.
Yeah.
Let's try that. Yeah, we are a little intense, ain't we?
Well, sometimes like that walking like that, all of a sudden you get some karma delivered to you. You know, it's like.
Hey, 1-6-1. Let's go, 6. One more. Here we go. Let's go, Blue. Nice and easy. Yeah.
Nice.
Woo!
Way to go.
Nice job, fellas.
Well, he pitched a gem.
Yeah, that's in there the whole time.
Yeah, that's nice for a tournament.